IG-11, one of the series of the dangerous assassin droids largely outlawed in the galaxy. IG-11 is a hired gun programmed to follow the Bounty Hunter Guild protocols to the letter. Hello and welcome to Centurion's Corner, and today we're reviewing from the Mandalorian IG-88, the credit edition. Now I was kind of not sure whether to get any of these figures, and I did. I got this one. But the reason for being is that I actually missed out on the original IG-88. He come back again to Kapow and I completely missed him again. So I ended up with this guy. But the whole reason for this one is that I am eventually going to customise him to make him look more screen accurate than this. But we can actually get a review out of him to have a look. I might be surprised, you never know. So with the actual box itself, it's got that kind of reminiscence of the old Kenner. We've got the IG-88 up here, or 11 shall I say. We've got the Mandalorian. We've got that nice Imperial credit here. And we've got him in the blister pack with his two accessories, the same as IG-88. On the back, we have got a description of what the figure is. It's just detailing that actually these are kind of reference to the actual end credit pictures that we have at the end of the Mandalorian. And after the fall of the Galactic Empire, the uses of their money become less, and so this is a credit addition to the Imperial credit. So, without further ado, let's just crack this bad boy open. So here he is in his blister pack, looking fine and dandy. He looks a bit more golden than he does on camera, but actually he's more kind of orange, kind of plastic. But we take him out of the box and take a good closer look at him. And yeah, it's just basically IG-88 with a new paint job. But we go away, take some photos, and we'll see you in a moment. Welcome back. I've been away taking these photos, and yeah, I really wanted this figure. I really wanted him as IG-11, so I got him here. I got him for the accessories. So this review might be a little bit negative because I will be painting him up, so I will put it out there that the reason why I got this figure is to paint him, but also to look at these credit editions and stuff like that to see actually are they really worth it. You know, paying an extra few quid extra for figures that have already been released. Yeah, I'm not too sure, but obviously with this IG-11 I can't really sort of review on the whole entire wave. So first of all, he comes with 3 accessories. Well, I suppose 2 accessories. He comes with this Imperial chip, and I can see why people really like it. It's got the insignia on there. It looks really nice and effective, but actually holding it just feels really cheap. It's like the children's money when you're younger with the little plastic coins. It literally just feels like that. I know they couldn't do anything better. Maybe, I don't know, maybe a little bit of steel, cheap aluminium or something like that. Maybe a little bit thinner. I don't know. But yeah, it just feels a little bit off on the thing there. But the colour's nice. And then looking at C-3PO himself. Oh, sorry. I mean IG-11. Just looking very sort of goldy, orangey brown. And, you know, it is a very strange colour choice, and I get why they've done it. It is to do with the sort of like the graffiti kind of end scene credit thing, so I can't really go on about the actual colours that they chose here, but it just makes him look a little bit cheap, unfortunately. So anyway, it comes with 2 accessories. It comes with one E11 blaster, which is a bit smaller than the standard Stormtroopers, and it fits onto the peg onto his hand just here, with a hole in there. So it just fits in on the actual peg itself, so he doesn't actually technically hold it, but it just looks like he's holding it in there. On his other hand, we have this sort of like the Imperial rifle, and again it has the hole on the end that just fits onto that peg that goes in there. But also with these ones as well, he's actually got a holster on the back, so we can actually pull it in place so he can carry it around on his back, which is pretty cool. I didn't know he had this, so that's pretty good. Taking those accessories out, we can actually go through his articulation. So head obviously can go 360 all the way around, arm wise all the way around as well, and then up here, and this is like a ball joint inside, so that can maneuver as well. Arms, we have got a rotation here, and it's also a single jointed elbow which comes up this way, and that's it. There's no wrist rotation or anything there, unfortunately. We have got a kind of a swivel inside there, but unlike the IG-11 in the actual series, he hasn't got much of the rotation because he's hindered by this really big strap that's going around. But he can come down this far and then go back using that big wheel inside. Leg wise, comes up this far, back this far. We've got an upper thigh rotation just inside there. The single jointed knee here, but it's very tender as we've got these sort of like wires which class as kind of tendons because they get really tight as you start moving them around. Down at the feet, we've got sort of like a rocker and a pivot and a rotation as well at the bottom. So it's exactly the same as the figure that we've all known and loved before, but that's kind of it really. I mean, the only thing I'm a bit sort of scared about is these sort of tubing parts on here, the rubber ones. I bring my IG-11 in, and unfortunately his one's disintegrated within a couple months. Maybe it was only in my bedroom. Sometimes I had the window open because it was sunny and stuff like that, but they weren't in the window or directional sunlight. But yeah, they went brittle and they actually physically come off. And that's kind of it. The only difference really in the actual IG-11 and IG-88 is IG-11's hands, but not in the figure itself, but actually in the show his hands are completely different, so he hasn't actually got a new sculpt for those parts either, so it is literally a remade IG-11. But going that, we can actually look into his details and the paint job. So at the top we've got that kind of more orangey kind of paint. It's a bit of an off red colour, I suppose, with a few sort of grey accents on there. The eyes are actually painted red, and that sort of transcends down until it gets to about here. We've got the purple on the bandolier with the silver parts, and then the typical brown underneath. Comes around to the back and it's more apparent. Not too sure if this is weathering or just sort of like specks of what they were sort of going for. I'm not too sure. I kind of like these armband parts on here. It kind of reminds me a bit of the Scarif Trooper with the sort of like chipping away on those parts. But going down, the gold is kind of, I suppose it is gold. It's like an orangey gold. It's used too much, and when you sometimes have paint jobs onto figures, it just kind of really looks cheap. It just looks plasticky, which is not what you want for your Black Series figures. You don't want them to look like this sort of plastic, you know. So maybe a black wash over the top would have dulled that down a little bit to bring out all these details in the legs and all that sort of part, which is a shame. But we've got this kind of extra sprinkling of sort of like a turquoise over the top of it, going down into these pinky wires and down to his feet with the more speckled on there. So yeah, I mean, I can see why people might like them. I think they're more sort of like keep in the box kind of figures, I suppose, rather than out on the shelf looking kind of things. It's just an extra bonus to have if you're a completionist, I suppose. But these credit editions, even the same as the carbonized, they aren't for me. I just find them, it's a bit of a cheap gimmick by Hasbro. Sometimes they look quite cool. I didn't think Boba Fett looked cool, but I quite like the Stormtrooper carbonized. I think it's the only one out of all of them that looked okay. So that's kind of it really. And that brings me to the end of the review. I will be bringing this guy back onto video, obviously to repaint him in Droid Factory. So I hope to see you then. And in the meantime, you can comment down below. You can follow me on Instagram, and you can comment and subscribe. So until then, I'll see you then. Bye.